Hi, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. A baseball bat is much better than a tennis racket.
Not if you're playing tennis.
Or if you're Glenn.
No, I stand by it. Oh.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking. This is a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show, and today we're discussing episode. Oh wait, it's been a while. It's been a while. Season 11, episode 9. There we
That
go.
one.
There you go.
Called No Other Way. I'm gonna have to get my head back in the game.
It's been a while.
It's been a little while. Yeah. It's the last few months have felt a lot longer than usual, but hey, what can you do? My name's Ben, joined today by
Liam.
and
Also, Isaac, hello.
yeah, and we're excited to be back. Definitely, it's just weird. Hey, it feels like it's been a while, but it's kind of nice just getting back into it. Until the end of that episode, then it's like, oh wow, okay.
Well, Liam didn't even know that the new ones were out.
Yeah, I was very shocked.
It's because we're getting it early with AMC Plus, so the marketing's all surrounded next week. So
Okay, that makes
sense.
a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Will that follow with the release order? Like next week will be the next episode?
Yeah, they're doing it for every episode.
Sweet.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it works. I don't know if it does, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's dive into this. So, just overall thoughts. What did you guys reckon? Do you want to go first, Liam?
Sure. Look, I don't know if I'm sold on this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know 100% why, but yeah, it wasn't really hitting the mark for me. Yeah.
And we've got Isaac on the sound effects board today.
Second chair. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Isaac.
Man, I'm maybe the opposite.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I completely forgot about the show,
Yeah.
which I guess
As
is
you do.
good for me because when we come back, it's not so polarizing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense, but entertaining. I think I was maybe the target audience for this one. It was yuck in all the appropriate parts, and it was exciting. There was a whole lot of silly things, which I've got notes. As usual.
Yeah, no doubt.
But look, I'm a fan. I thought it set up some pretty cool things and interesting time jumps. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, probably in the middle, in between the two extreme reactions. Hey, it sort of at first it took me a minute to get into it, but yeah, I thought there was enough interesting story stuff, and obviously, really enjoying the production value and how it's all made. The color grading really stood out to me this episode. I don't know, that's just something really specific, but I thought it looked quite nice, and a bit. It stood out to me more than usual in a good way, but
Particularly
noticed it,
toward the end, like
Yeah.
with all the green and
oh no!
I noticed that.
Even early on, I was noticing it just in some little things. But I've been doing a lot of color grading recently, so I'm probably just noticing it more. But it did look nice, and this whole season's looked great overall. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's sort of now it's becoming, unfortunately, classic Walking Dead stuff of just like skipping over important details and little things that don't make sense and seem like they would be kind of easy fixes. So yeah, those are the only annoying things, and they're more probably from the script, or maybe it made sense in the script but just didn't translate visually. So yeah, they're all nitpicks, but a lot of little nitpicks. What's the saying? Death by 1,000 cuts or whatever. It's that kind of thing sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at overall. But definitely enjoyed it, and definitely intrigued for what's happening next episode, because that's quite an interesting ending there. Which we'll get to. But yeah, I guess going through chronologically, we've got obviously just picking up with in the middle of the battle at the Reaper's place, and Isaac, just to divert, you have seen recaps and stuff, but you didn't actually watch the full episode. Is that right?
Yeah. So I got the general gist of it, and I felt like the episode before this one kind of established a whole bunch, so I wasn't left too much in the dark. The whole whatever it's called, I looked up the name because I had no idea. It's called like a Watcher apparently, or with silent H at the beginning. Is that like missile launcher thing that they've rigged up? That's crazy.
And I was right, they do explode, so I'm happy
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks if they're just rocket propelled arrows. Like, that's it. But
Like many of us, I thought that Pope was going to be like the main bad guy of the Reapers. So to have him gone is like, oh, that's a strange direction. But then I think they're trying to move past the whole Reapers thing anyway, and now into this.
well, that's a
thing.
point to get into. That's something overall, just looking at the whole first arc of this first third of the season. Yeah, it definitely feels kind of pointless now, especially now that they've, like, maybe Leah's going to come back because she's still alive, but like they've just killed everyone and that's it. Oh, okay. Now we'll just move on to the Commonwealth. Like this, you could have just started the season there if that's what you wanted to do. Like, and so we kind of had the promise before the season started that we'd get like, basic survival things, looking for food and scavenging and stuff like that. I think there was spoken about the 10C stuff, but like this whole thing was just a trip to get food, and they made that into like 8 or 9 episodes. And I would have preferred even just more variety. Don't make it into a big battle with a whole new enemy. Like, just go and explore some different locations, and I don't know. I feel like a different formula just for like that little chunk could have been quite nice. So that just seeing it now, all in hindsight's a little bit disappointing overall, but still entertaining, still well made, and it's not the worst thing in the world at the end of the day.
It's kind of okay to have like a base want that they have, like a base mission, like we're going to starve, so we need food, right?
Sure.
So that as like the underlying thing that sets them off on the mission. And then I was okay that they ran into the Reapers as well. Like, as I don't know if it's a new neck of the woods or they've been following Maggie or something.
Yeah, that's because the place they were in this episode was Maggie's home. They were like, there was a whole community there and they took it over and they've been chasing them, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how they knew where all the secret hiding spots were.
Yeah, cool. I'm on the same page now because I was thinking, how does she know so much about this compound?
Yeah.
All right, I'll cut the episode a little bit more slack now.
Okay. yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no. What are your thoughts on the Reapers overall? Because there's a lot of mixed elements there. Hey,
I'm pretty resistant to the idea of it's our family type thing. Like, it's really watering it down. You know, in this whole Walking Dead universe where all of these unlikely friends have banded together, and then finally Rick is the whole, my family type thing. And now to have everyone else kind of say like, we have our own crew type family thing, but we go around and actively slaughter children. And it's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
I think, Ben, you mentioned in the last episode, like, now there's no such thing as good people or bad people. It's just people doing their...
Yeah.
You use better words, but...
Right.
And I don't know if I think that about the Reapers. I think that they're clearly, like, they're opportunistic people. Like, they're just trying to survive at all costs and, damn everybody else type thing.
And that was maybe one of the most interesting parts of this episode was Gabriel and the other religious guy's conversation, because he just called him out on that and said, like, you're literally going around and like killing people for no reason. Like, what's wrong with you? And so like it would have been good. I would have liked, even though it might have been repeating it a bit, like for just Daryl to say that to Leah, like, hey, look, I get it. We don't want to. This is your family or whatever, but like, why have you been going around and killing everyone? This is why we're getting revenge. Or like,
yeah, I forget where I was going with that. The Reapers in general.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they're good people who are just at odds with the next group that comes on. I think they're actively doing bad things, and that's why. You take the Kingdom, when we ran into them, you could argue the same thing, that they were all like cautious of each other and all of that. Yeah. And same thing with Alexandria in the beginning. But when you start to find out, okay, we have common values and stuff like that, there's nothing like that with the Reapers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good take on it.
Definitely. And this is just looking at it from a overall bird's eye perspective on the whole show and stuff like that. definitely feeling it more now, the sort of past its prime vibes, just in the story sense.
I agree.
And having a main character to ground it all, like being Rick, definitely helped. All those past things you're talking about, like it was a lot easier to follow, and there was at least, you could have an opinion about, was this right or not, but this whole episode, it seemed like you had to think about it so much, and there was so much to I don't know. It sounds bad because I like that in movies. You want to be able to think about things and make theories and form different opinions on it. But it seemed like there's not a consistent thread to even follow here. There's just all these crazy ideas and different like lofty conversations being had, and you've just got to try and piece it all together in your head to one sort of coherent thing. And like obviously being on break, like you said, you kind of zone out from the show for a bit, and now you're coming back in, and we do a podcast about it, so we're obviously fans and we think about it, but like we shouldn't be confused at all about what's going on. And I was kind of lost at a few points. So yeah,
what they chose to include versus not include.
Sure.
Just
obviously budget has a big impact on some things, but like
yeah. And we heard a bit about that, in the Aaron McLean interview, as far as like budget and what you can and can't do.
Yeah, and they have to have those conversations early on of like, we can do these sort of effects, and so that, and you can see a lot of the things here from the script point. It's like, oh well, we can't have this other fight here, so let's just skip over that because that'd be too much money. So, interesting.
But yeah, I'm of the opinion that, sure, it's a great story, this whole Walking Dead thing, but we've kind of talked about this in the past. Like, if something is not going to look good, and you know that it's not going to look, or even just passable or acceptable is not quite acceptable,
Right.
Yeah.
And it just kind of damages the TV show in the long run because it pulls you out of it. So yeah, there are just some things like I wonder, should you have used this at all in your story point if you knew you weren't going to have the budget to do it well?
Right. Interesting. Yeah, no, fair point. What in particular?
It's kind of a harsh criticism, I know, but I don't know. So that I just gave you the name of it, Watcher. I think that's what it says.
Oh yeah.
Right, the rocket.
Watcher. Is that it?
Who knows? The rocket machine.
Yeah.
I liked the way it was used. I thought that was very cool, but not for one moment did I believe that they were all going off behind her. Even if it was practical, it didn't look practical. It looked very animated.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I mean, like, that would be a lot to do practical to have actual rockets flying around. So I get it. Hey? And that's it. At the end of the day, you have to look at it and say, look, it is a TV show. They have to like write it in a week, film it in 7 days, and then like churn it out. So it's not a movie where they can take forever. And that we're jumping all over the place. Yeah, that was one thing that I was thinking about, because like Titanic, for example, there's the door, and everyone complains about that. Like, oh, they could easily have both fit on there.
Oh yeah.
Little things like that where even big movies make those mistakes. So I was thinking that when Aaron was in the basement and he's like, "You go, get out of here."
Yeah.
Like you're standing up, you could just reach and grab the window and pull yourself up.
With
Like,
one arm though.
yeah, maybe not. Okay.
Yeah,
That was
I
the
thought the
sticking
same
point.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, if you had two hands, even then it'd be tough with all the rain and whatnot.
Well, fair enough. All right, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
But there were lots of little things. Even just like Lydia saving him, and all of a sudden she just pulls him out on a rope. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How did he grab the rope? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And how did the rope all of a sudden get tied?
Yeah, there's tension on it. Like, what's going on here?
Just so I can scrub out my note about the Watchers.
Yeah, please.
Those were only, I did a bit of reading up on them just because I'd seen them before, but they were used a lot for castle defenses, right?
Yeah.
But they're famously inaccurate. You don't actually think you're going to hit something, but when something is raining down from the castle, you don't want to charge it just in case you got hit, right?
Sure.
And so this idea of come on, Maggie, and this guy having like a fight at the beginning, and he holds her out in the open, and she's all like, oh no, and then ducks back in and then holds him out, and he happens to get hit. I was just like, I see what you're going for, but it's like the likelihood of that happening. And you had maybe, 40, 50 of those firework rockets.
it's a
just-
cool gag, but like, yeah, like you said, it makes way more sense in a strategy where you've got a whole army. It's like, oh, well, we're not going to charge into that because there's bombs
Yeah.
going off
Yeah.
everywhere. But
Yeah.
like when you're talking about 5 people
Yeah.
and a bunch of walkers who don't care, they're just going to walk anyway. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, funny. But yeah, cool. We've never seen it before, and it's definitely a deterrent. It's going to make you clear the space, but yeah, you'd never hope to.
One other nitpick though, while we're on it, is that there was a steady stream of them firing.
Yeah.
But the fuse at the start looks like they were just all going to
All
go
at
at
once.
once, or like
Yeah.
over 5 or 10 seconds maybe. But
I was
like,
thinking that as well.
They might be
Yeah.
layered, so as the fuse goes up, it lights the bottom row, then the second, then as it goes up.
maybe.
Or
We'll
the
give
other
him the
way.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. What other notes have you got?
So many, but that's it for that one.
I want to actually point out a potential camera technique that I think they used.
Yeah, okay.
Which
Ooh.
really reminded me of old school Lost in Space.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
So when one of the bombs from the Watcher,
Yep.
that's going to be a fun thing.
Yeah.
to keep saying. When it would like impale a walker or one of the dudes and it exploded, like it covered the entire screen.
Oh, yeah,
And then
now I can
obviously
picture exactly.
they weren't got the person was or the walker had completely disappeared, and it just instantly took me to Lost in Space where there'd be like an explosion and they'd quickly change the camera shot. Like have they just used Lost in Space techniques?
It's pretty good.
The old school tricks do the job.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because the explosion would cover the whole screen. I'm like, I see what you're doing here.
Hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about in Lost in
I'm
Space.
so glad. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, well, hey, does the job.
Yeah, power
If you're
to
not going to use this opportunity to plug Lost in Space with Liam and Ben,
I've
And
been
Isaac
lost.
in the latest episode, which
Yeah.
there's been a bit of a delay, and we'll pretend it's intentional because we want to give people a chance to watch all of season 3 because it drops all at once on Netflix. So it's probably been it's probably been about 10 weeks now. So if you were to watch, oh no, it wasn't 10 episodes, was it? It was only 7. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, go listen to that
Check it
podcast.
out. It's a good
Let's move
podcast.
on. Yeah, we've been jumping all over the place, but I'll just have a skim through the whole fight with the Duplo in the foreground.
yeah.
Any thoughts on that one? Chime in a sec if you want, but I liked that Daryl obviously has to kill some people like out of necessity, and this guy was one of them. Like you couldn't like just leave him on the ground or whatever because he was going to kill you. So it made sense. But then later when there was the guy on the ground who didn't need to be killed, then I liked that he wasn't just going around killing people when he didn't have to. So that was, yeah.
I thought that because he come on, Isaac, held his hand over the guy's mouth to stop him screaming.
Yeah.
And then when he was down on the ground, you saw him reach inside the guy's jacket and pull out what we now know as a walkie-talkie. I thought because he knew that people were coming in, he like pulled the pin on a grenade that was on him. So when they go and kneel over him, boom. I was like, that's very clever, Daryl. Off you go.
Yeah.
But no. Okay.
If only.
Yeah.
Very smart if that were the case.
Cool to see. I mean, Daryl's had so many fight scenes, in particular like knife fight scenes with so many people at this point.
Yeah.
It's good to see that him meet his match every once in a while and not
Yeah.
get completely tossed around, but yeah.
Definitely.
This one felt a little bit more fast paced, I thought. I enjoyed this fight scene.
And that's something which I think it hasn't always felt so great, the fight choreography, but this
Yeah.
episode I thought it was pretty decent. Hey,
Yeah, I agree.
And even the Negan, Maggie, and Elijah versus that one guy, that was really
awesome. That was well done.
because like Last Jedi, for example, where you got the guys twirling around in the background.
Yep.
Like it's very easy when you've got multiple people in a fight to have plot holes of like, oh, why didn't he just like attack him if he's just standing there? But I like that in the background you could see the people who've like Negan's just got winded and whacked in the stomach, so he's got to take a second to catch his breath before he goes for another swing, and you could see where everyone was at. I thought at least, but what did you think?
Cool. I mean, I enjoy watching these. I pick them apart way too much as I'm
Right.
watching them. And unfortunately, you just see these classic mistakes made by, like, so Negan comes running in to go and take a massive swipe with this thing, and it's practically behind his head, so he leaves himself way open. And then you've got Maggie like slashing side to side with a knife when really you're only ever supposed to poke and stab and jab.
Right.
Slashing is like a wild man's game, you know, desperate hope to hit something.
Yeah.
And they all know better than that, you know.
Sure.
The only guy, Elijah, is it?
Yeah.
He's already like wounded, so I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way I thought it could have gone down was maybe if other dude who they're fighting, I don't know his name. Oh, they said it too.
What, the Reaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his
everything.
name. Hey,
Yeah. If you'd first thrown something at, say, you know,
flashbang or something.
not even like some kind of blunt object or even pocket sand
yeah.
or something at Negan to subdue him that way,
That makes sense.
and then go for but. That's me being picky. It was fun. It was a fun scene. And then Negan's line, ding, ding.
That kind of ruined it for me.
In the best way, though. Like, it's so cringe and so Negan,
Yeah.
but it's like, you can picture him trying to, like, go in the background. Now, what line should I say?
What's an object I can use that has a bit of irony and I can come up with a good line to say?
Yeah.
So that's an example of skipping over stuff. Like they were hidden out in this hidden room, and now they're just in like a hallway, and they're all like what was going on? Maggie was trying to get through the door. Was she just pretending it's locked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they'd lured in.
The old cornered fox routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
Okay.
smart.
I just thought, as far as the scene goes, like instead of skipping, like that could have been an interesting scene with a lot of tension. If they were sort of not sure if anyone's outside, they have to kind of sneak out, and then they're caught off guard, and then it makes sense that 3 versus 1 is a fair fight. Like I don't know, it just when you don't have to skip over stuff, like it didn't feel really all that necessary to me. So
Well, we had the hole in the wall shot of him getting the very convenient radio call within earshot saying, "I've lost them. Find them at all costs. We're going to get him. Roger, Roger." And then off he goes. And then it was like, so okay, so now we know exactly where he is.
Yeah.
And
But this was like the
set
next
the trap.
day because that was at night when they were hiding.
oh yeah,
I think at least. I could be wrong.
I think you're right actually.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. If it was like 5 minutes later, that would have been all right. But yeah, there we go. Lots of nitpicky things.
Yeah.
You guys just jump in if you got any other thoughts. Where you said yuck. The Aaron when the zombie underwater got
Crush.
stabbed. I thought that at least from a visual standpoint, that looked awesome. Seeing everything in the water.
Yeah,
and
it
all.
was very well done.
The very first, because Judith goes and stabs one from the top down and it falls underwater, and I went, you just made that water so much worse. Because now there's like, you know, zombie guts, and then they start smashing a bunch more. Aaron does his Aaron does his massive.
No, it is Aaron.
Is it?
But because they're American, they say it like that.
Aaron does his like slow motion jump down and smashes one, all the guts in the water,
Majestic.
and then squishes one, and it's just
Yeah.
it's all over you, and yuck.
I did not see that coming either. What I was thinking was going to happen is, like, while he was underwater, he'd see Judith's sword, be like, here we go. But no, instead he just brute forces the thing.
Is
Yeah,
that
that
sword
could've been
lost
cool.
now? Ooh.
I guess they can just go back and get it from the basement later.
Yeah.
Swords don't rust easy, do they?
I guess not. But also, how does your basement not have any flooding protocols?
Ah.
You know? I thought they have like drains in the basement for like
Yeah, good
Slash
point.
floods and what?
You think?
what's it?
Like soak wells and stuff, you mean? Or-
Something like that for like flash floods and whatnot.
Would it just take too long?
Yeah.
Like, because the water was pretty quick.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Food for thought.
Food for thought, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm giving a lot of nitpicks, but that stuff like the slow motion Aaron thing, and then like,
It makes me laugh.
yeah, even the Negan ding ding, like, it's fine and it's kind of funny. Like, we chuckled at all of those moments, but like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the show used to be a lot classier.
Yeah.
and when it seems like you're getting a bunch of those every episode and they're kind of pointless, it's like,
Like, come on, guys. You can do better.
Like, they're just writing the script around cool zombie kill moments.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I will point out, though.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're describing my exact problem with Last Jedi, just by the way.
Okay. Well, we are going to record an Astromech after this, so there's a
Oi.
plug. Listen to Astromech Star Wars podcast.
Turnsounds.com. That's where you go. You find all of our catalog. Do
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, go on, Liam.
Oh, yeah. Judith got some pretty sweet kicks in, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty well done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
She actually just like kicked a stunt double in the face, perhaps.
And we set up his last episode, but Gracie's not been doing so great in the combat
No.
department. But that I was thinking about this episode, and like, you know, it kind of makes sense because she's been raised behind wolves, really. I guess, yeah, Aaron has been training her with fight stuff, hasn't he?
I guess.
don't
I think
know.
so.
But yeah, it's just sort of an interesting thought as to whether or not she should be able to like defend herself better, or if she's just been a bit too sheltered.
I think, all right, the psychology sort of aspect is going to start to come out now.
Mm.
I think that wasn't very accurate purely because if she had been trained, all right, well, regardless of whether she's been trained or not, one of two things is, well, one of however many responses we're up to now, but fight, flight, or freeze. So if her reaction is flight, then the second they're grabbing at her legs or whatever, you're going to see her like jerking and trying to pull away, and she'll be actively trying to yeet it out of there. If she chooses fight, she's going to be throwing every single limb she has available. Training is probably going to go out the window. If she chooses freeze, then obviously she's going to deer in the headlights. And I think there's two other ones that I can't remember.
Is it like usually strictly one, or can you go between multiple?
I don't know, actually. That's a good point.
Okay, because that's kind of like what I would think that she's about. Like freeze here, maybe a bit of half-hearted fighting there, run away there, and whatever.
But even so, I feel like her reactions weren't... Like, if she had been trained by Aaron, yes, you can give her a little bit of grace, pun intended. That's... You know, she's in a stressful situation. She's got adrenaline. She's not going to remember all of her training. It's just going to be...
Instinct.
Yeah. But, yeah, it felt like she was more just sort of going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her holding the shovel looks so feeble.
Yeah.
She's so, yeah.
Like, if she was genuinely terrified for her life, it would have looked a lot different, I think. And that's... Like, I feel like we're nitpicking a lot.
Yeah, it is
But-
nitpicks, but you know.
But she's a kid, so
Yeah.
you don't want to tear her to shreds. Like, it'd be tough to act that out as a kid. So
Oh, yeah.
kudos to her for doing the job that she did.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't really have any faults to pick in the acting side of it. It's just like, you know, it's one of those things where, yeah, you've got so many days to film
Yeah.
it, and you've just got to get the scene done at the end of the day. So,
And she could have been
Yeah.
told, this is how you have to do it. This is, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I got two more notes just on this
Cool.
scene, but I realised we're taking up a lot of time just when.
That's right. I've got one interesting thing to get into in a bit. But yeah, you go first.
First note is that I really appreciate any scenes that they include not only rain and such, but like underwater.
Yeah.
I think that's just such another whole level of like proficiency in filmmaking, and to get it to
Yeah.
look right. Any shots from underwater, or like you see them falling in the water. Aaron's got like his hair all out of place and like water running down his face. You see all these walkers popping up, and like the threat is like multiplying by the minute. And so I really thought that was the end of Aaron. I thought, this is it. He's got to somehow die here, and I wasn't ready for it. So I was getting upset. You know, I was like, I'm not sure about this, but very, very cool to look at.
It really was. Yeah.
I've always spoken as well about, I don't believe that there's a whole lot of force behind the walkers when they're pushing up against things and they're tipping everything over, or they're breaking through doors. If you've ever like stood up against something and then like really tried to lean against it, there's no way you could smash through even like a light door, even with multiple ones of you. But having said that, we see one pushing its face through, and the skin and hair starts ripping off of it. And it got me to thinking, like, what if you're really pushing so hard that, yeah, all the skin is just ripping off you, and it kind of builds a whole nother layer behind, like, are they inhumanly strong, the way that they can keep pinning people down? And maybe that's one of the reasons why they're able to keep pushing through barriers and, like, hurting themselves while they do so, because they don't know their own strength.
Interesting.
I don't know, actually. I mean, We've spoken briefly about the end of Fear. No, not Fear. Sorry, World Beyond. How they introduced, stronger walkers at the end of that. I never thought about that actually. I thought it was more due to like their decaying and whatnot. So, yeah, like their skin and whatever just breaks off easier.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah. And then one last thing on that. Underwater, surely they would lose your scent, right? I wonder if the water was clear and not murky, could you dip underwater and then just like, do a circle around? They wouldn't be able to see you or smell you anymore. They wouldn't be able to hear you. I wonder if that's whether they'll capitalize on that one day.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just got me wondering when they went underwater. First of all, you never go underwater because you lose all your strength and you got to breathe and all of that, But yeah, I wondered, is he just going to swim away? But
Yeah.
he'd rather crush the head and soak in its guts. Yeah.
And then he was climbing on the roof all of a sudden. And I don't know how to explain it, but all I said when we were watching it to you was, "Hey, what are you doing up there?" From Spider-Man. "I'm staying away from you."
The bone saw's ready. Yeah.
So some of that stuff, just gotta have a laugh.
And like that's the most compromising position to be hanging upside down. It's not really a good grip, and he's only got one hand.
Yeah.
Dangling, underneath you are all of these things reaching up. One slip on an already wet surface.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have two hands to climb across. He's got to try and not stab himself on his other hand.
That's what I was thinking. Like, how is he not like pricking his hand every other time he tries to shimmy across? But would that have given him more grip, perhaps?
Maybe, because it's metal. Yeah, okay, maybe.
Don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think it would have, but you never know.
But that's it for me on that scene.
Yeah, no, fair enough. One thing that I thought was interesting, and obviously Negan sort of mentions at the end when he walks off, was just Maggie sort of taking her revenge on the Reapers. Was sort of interesting. It'll probably be better to like watch the whole season back to back and see her story arc flowing. But just in the sense of like, she's at the point now where she even asks Negan for his opinion when they're deciding to do stuff and all that. So she's kind of moved on from that. But when she sees that Elijah really wants the revenge, then she has no hesitation taking it out because she's been there and she knows what he feels like. So, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And I was almost half expecting, like, while she's on this spree, then for her to go, "Oh, well, while I'm at it, I'll just go for Negan as well." Like, now that she's just going for it. But, do you have any thoughts on that?
Can you imagine how different it would have been then if she did shoot the dude on the floor and then she, like you say, she goes for Negan, points the gun at him, and then it's blank?
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, that would have been very interesting.
Maybe more justified then for Negan taking off being like, dude. Yeah. I do have like a broader note that I wanted to talk about her and Father Gabriel.
Yeah.
Or is it just Gabriel now from his sniper incident? I don't know.
Call me Gabriel.
Yeah, true.
That was a bit of a oh yeah moment, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was cool.
Old Deadeye, well, literally, as a Deadeye.
Deadeye Gabriel, that's his new name.
Okay. But yeah, to be able to shoot through a guy's leg as he's mid-kick, like that's some skill.
Yeah. Go Gaby.
But like as far as him stabbing the priest when the priest is clearly offering out friendship and some form of like redemption back along the...
Oh, the priest could have been triggered. He could have, because he was saying, "Take my hand." As soon as he did that, he could have just...
I was thinking that too.
Me too.
Because the shot was of his face, but then you see he's reaching and he's got both hands out.
True.
And so I was like, oh, so you're sincere about this. And the whole time I was like, you're going to pull something, and then Gabriel does. And I feel like it's that Rick moment again, when he kills the guys with, that he said he wouldn't. And it's just, when these are our heroes that we're supposed to be following, it's okay that they have these dark moments, but when we're still supposed to root for them after Maggie in cold blood guns down all of these people after making an agreement, and then Father Gabriel as well, saying that he doesn't agree that everyone can be saved, like that's like the pinnacle of like of his whole creed and everything and like faith in general. So I'm like, what, you don't even believe that anymore? Like,
I think that may be says it well, and like gets to the point I made before that it was a lot easier to follow when you just had Rick as the main character, and it's fine to have side characters, but with him, like, you know, he went through his ups and downs and high, like, and dark moments and stuff like that, but you were kind of able to follow where it was going, and you could see then, you know, him regretting it afterwards and how he changed. But with this, we've got so many different things going on, so many extremes. Gabriel's doing this, Maggie's doing this, and so you've got to keep a track of like 5 different moral, like the characters where they're at, then where they're at now because of what they're doing, and like what they believe is right and wrong. And there's just so much going on that it's kind of, it loses you a little bit. That's what I feel, at least.
Yeah. There's no real foundation sort of tie it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I've said it before in previous ones. Anytime, in particular, Father Gabriel has any one of his like crisis of faith moments, I don't know. I'm not such a fan. I know that it's good when he has like his moments of doubt and everything, and then we see him kind of at one point he started wearing his little, whatever they're called, the priest collar.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, again. And that was something, but I really don't know. At the end of this, he just said, like, I'm trying to have faith or something like that. I don't know.
Trying to do better.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a Spider-Man podcast soon enough.
Why have we not done one of those?
I am
Yeah,
down for
it's a
that.
good question. All right, let's make it happen.
Tally ho.
Yeah, and maybe that in hindsight, once we've seen the whole season and where it's going with him, because that's been a fair while that he's really been having this crisis of faith. There's sort of season 10, he was getting a bit grumpier, and then towards the end, he was legit sort of giving it up at a few points. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that story goes, I guess. Maybe that'll be a bit better when we see where it's actually going to end. Yeah. But yeah, going to the end with the Commonwealth rocking up.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously the time skip is a massive thing. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Hey,
I missed all of that where Eugene convinces them. Was that done earlier that I'd forgotten about it, or?
What?
Oh, Eugene convinced the Commonwealth to come to Alexandria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, obviously they've come here now, and he's not like a prisoner or whatever. Yeah, I don't remember it enough. I think that's one of those things that they kind of hint at and then just skip over it. Yeah. So maybe it's been too long since I watched the last episode, but I don't remember that explicitly happening, at least.
No, neither do I.
It was because they annoyed the little kid, the guy who was on his date, and then they were like in jail or something like that, and they said, "Oh, well, you need to give us something. Tell us where you're from." There was something like that, from what I can remember.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Hey, I do not know.
That guy's teeth, man.
Oh man, it bugs me.
And I can't get past it ever since you said Jim Carrey. Like, even like the little sideways glances he does, like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Carrey.
What have I told you? I have an offer for you, guy. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So this cliffhanger will just be something. I'll form my opinion once we've seen where it's going.
With Daryl.
Yeah.
Big
That was
note on
really
that
weird.
one. So it's 7 months later.
6 months.
6 months later. And somehow Daryl's aligned himself, you know, with the Commonwealth. He's in full armor and everything. I refuse to believe that in that time, you know, he's got all this shiny armor. He's not yet had a haircut. He's still unshaven, and he's still hair all over his face. Every single episode, there's this lock of hair that goes in the middle of his face. I'm just, get it out the way.
It's not convenient for the apocalypse.
No. Like, you're more likely to get like head lice and everything as well, and there's something for the walkers to grab at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's obviously compromising on his style standards by wearing a stormtrooper outfit. So
he looks all right in it, let me say.
he pulls it off.
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. And I'm also surprised that like back at the Commonwealth, it looks like there's really not been much in the way of repairs or anything. Like when it said 6 months later, like, yeah, they've really not done much to this place.
They put some fires out. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that'll just be one of those questions to fill in
Yeah.
what happened in the 6 months.
Well, we didn't really get to see. It crossed over to 6 months, and it was just Maggie on the wall, right? So we couldn't really see much.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right,
So-
I'll take that back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then, yeah, what do you know? Maggie's aligned herself in some kind of contrary point of view and doesn't want to get along. Like, we need. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this stuff, it's like, yeah, you know, if this was just another season, it would be kind of like, that's a bit average, but whatever. But like the final season, come on.
The trouble is, like, where can they go other than rehashing stuff that they've already done?
And that's what I would say if this wasn't the final season, because it makes sense if you've got to keep the story going afterwards. But like, now's your chance to start wrapping things up so you can do some crazy different things. You don't have to
Yeah,
just
that's
like
true, I
do another
guess.
season.
Maybe they'll do that for
yeah.
C, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. I'm definitely curious as to where that's
Yeah.
going to go. And I hope the Commonwealth stuff can just be over and done with in B, maybe.
Yeah, so far it's not really doing much for me.
No. Yeah, so we'll have to see. Yeah, I'm definitely not sold on the cliffhanger. I love time skips, and the whole 6 months later, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then Daryl pulls his helmet off. It's like, oh, TV show.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I stopped watching Arrow. Every other episode, there was like, oh, this character's alive who you thought was dead 2 episodes ago. And oh, this thing, like, there's a massive plot twist every other episode. It just got so tiring. Yeah. So, we'll see where it goes. I'll reserve my judgment.
I'm still going to say it was entertaining for me.
Absolutely.
I think I'm maybe on a different level of fandom to the both of you, where anything goofy that happens, I'm not sad or disheartened by it because like somehow it damages the show. I just think that it's funny and I move on.
That's fair.
Like Daryl stabs the guy in the playroom and he goes, "Oh, I've been stabbed," and then he tries to just waddle away.
That was good.
I was like, yeah, go for it, run.
I will say that was a good part. Like, oh, that's a first. Usually they just drop and miraculously they're dead straight away.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, oh, wait a minute. No,
And he
I'm
like
out.
eyes the door, considers
Yeah.
his options, like, yep, I'm going for
He
it.
may as well have been like, time out, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
You had oh, come on. The biggest problem I have with these breaks in the show is I forget everybody's names.
Oh, yeah.
The Rosita,
Yeah.
if you're Dwight saying it. Her splitting a walker clean in half
Oh,
with a
yes.
spike sword in this episode.
Yes. That was cool.
Oh boy.
That
Yeah.
was really cool.
Positive or negative?
Awesome. Like
Okay.
very, very cool. Like as far I don't know if it's like practical or if it's
Yeah.
looks good. Anytime there's staircases, I like, come on guys, like we know that you only need to kill 4 or 5 and then they create like a little stumble barrier for the walkers and then it should be easy. Telling them to get out the window, and the previous one she said stay away from the windows. It's like, what do you want, Rosita? Come on.
I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. Yeah, you're right.
There you go.
Why don't they use spears too?
Don't get me started on spears.
You've got your
Yeah.
choke point in the stairwell. Just They're not going to pop like bubbles like that, but I feel like that would work much better.
One of the many inconsistencies in the show, you see someone with a knife, they have to take a full swing and stab it, and then sometimes they fall over because of all the force and all, versus other people that just come up and, ink, and then it's through the head. Yeah, it's a fun
Yeah.
show. I like it.
That's it. Yeah. And I'm happy to overlook tiny things, like especially if it's for the sake of story. Like,
Yeah.
That being said, I promise this will be my last nitpick and no more negativity.
Ooh.
Is when Alden, R.I.P., is
Yeah, that was sad.
coming towards Maggie, and obviously that's sad. He was a good character, but like, she's got her arm out right in front of his face.
Yeah, just
Which is
holding
like,
his head.
a walker's one objective is to bite you.
Yeah.
And like in every other case, if it gets the slightest grip, the mouth goes straight in for a chomp, but she's got her arm like right in front of his mouth, and he's just like looking around like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So like obviously it was kind of, it was a nice moment, but surely still you keep a little bit of distance and you're still shocked, and then you go and stab him. But
I picked up on that too. I actually thought, is she about to let him bite her?
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what I thought.
Right. Yeah.
I quit. I've had enough of this.
No.
Take a chomp, mate. Yeah, for a second I thought that's what she was going for. I'm like, oh no, hang on, she just doesn't care. Like,
I thought it was sweet, but I don't actually know their relationship as far as like why she was crying so bad over him.
Well, yeah, I mean, recently they haven't really spent much time together, obviously, because she hasn't even been around Alexandria. But she, like, because he was part of the Saviors initially,
Yeah.
and they were quite close, sort of around season 8, and then he decided to stick around at Hilltop because they got along and stuff. So there was something there at least. But
He can join
Enid.
Thank you.
yeah. Oh, and speaking of that as well, the music at the end when they all were arriving back at Alexandria, it was a different orchestration of
boom,
it.
Boom. All like the drums. And
Not
stuff?
that one. No,
Okay.
there's a different scene. the more piano one.
Oh, okay.
It was the same melody as in the middle of season 8 when a bunch of them arrive at Hilltop and Enid first learns that Carl's died and a whole bunch of them. So it was the same kind of situation here of like a happy reunion. Yes, we're all back together, but we've got bad news that half your friends have died. So, and I like when they. I don't see that as lazy. It would be lazy if they just reused the exact same track, but they've orchestrated it differently and just used the same melody. And I like that when they take different themes and sort of moments that have the same, I don't know, the same sort of things happening in the scene and reuse that musical theme. I like stuff like that. So,
Yeah. Not a fan of Negan leaving. Will be probably my last.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. What do you think the future holds for Negan? And just what do you reckon?
Well, first of all, when he saves her Maggie in the corridor, and you see them looking up, and I said almost to myself like, "Don't say thank you," like because Maggie's looking up and they almost nod at one another, and I thought, okay, so cool, you're building back some trust and whatever. But then to see him still be like. And the music wasn't fair.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
To see this pole come out and then the dun dun or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, and just the pause.
Yeah.
There was that, and there was earlier in the episode when he like walked out to get the bell, and it was like they tried to make you think he was gonna walk away and leave Maggie to die. Like, yeah. Just TV show stuff.
But where's he gonna go? I don't know. Like, is he gonna do one of those things where he comes back in their hour of need or whatever? That might be a little corny for me. I wish he had stayed with the group and then just they'd have some kind of unspoken like, yeah, you don't have to worry about me killing you anymore. Like, don't know. Yeah, and also I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so shame.
Yeah. It didn't seem to me like they made a big enough deal about it for him to actually be leaving for a while. Like, he might be, but I feel like if it was the sort of thing where he's going to come back in like 10 episodes later, that it might have been a bigger deal. But yeah, I really don't know. And we've got 6 months time skip, so in that time he might have come back and joined one of the groups. Like, it's not likely, but
Maybe he's a stormtrooper as well.
yeah, and he just never takes his mask off. No one knows who it is.
Yeah. Smart.
Got one other note, sorry, I just remembered. The music right before Maggie goes off and shoots everyone. It's kind of like that fiddle scratching type thing where it's going at first, and then it tapered away, and I was like, oh, so I don't know what that was all about. And then she like caps two of them, and then they have like this GoPro type view looking up at her as she goes and swings the sickle or scythe into this guy.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I don't know, it was different.
Hmm.
I didn't dislike it. It was different.
I noticed that a lot of, I can only guess, it seems like comic book frames in the episode, and there was one with the window, and there are a whole bunch of them, but you can tell like the shot will be on a bit of an angle, and it'll have a certain lens, and it looks like they're sort of paying homage to a frame from the comics. So I would guess some of that stuff is like that. Yeah, who knows? But it does look nice, regardless. Yeah. So yeah, well, what would you like to happen with Negan from now? Because it kind of leaves the door wide open.
Don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Because I wasn't expecting him to leave, so
No.
it's not something I'd prepared for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree though with what you said. How it didn't feel like he was going to be gone for a while. So yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll still follow what he's doing, or maybe he's just gone for an episode or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, as for what?
Yourself? Yeah.
I'm at a loss when it comes to predictions or even like what I want to happen, because I'm not interested at all in the Commonwealth. I don't want to go and have a whole arc of episodes there. Like, it just doesn't sound good. So like, I'm not pitching a story that I think would be interesting or whatever. But I do like the Lydia Negan relationship, and she obviously had quite a bit of a reaction. Yeah. When she found out that he wasn't there. So I can't pitch anything half decent, but like Lydia and some other people get sick of the Commonwealth. You'd think Daryl should, but he's not for whatever reason. And so they just go off and then they find Negan in the woods and they go and camp out and form their own community. It's like, we prefer living off the land like the old seasons.
I will say though, do you remember the last shot we see of Michonne with those funny chariot things off it? That was a whole untapped thing that I just wish they had used maybe instead of the Reapers. You didn't even have to have Michonne, because I think they're like, for the Rick movies or whatever. Yeah. Those elusive Rick movies. Anyway. But yeah, no, cool potential, something new we hadn't seen. And I know we haven't seen the Commonwealth, like a very organized type of military thing before. No, not really.
Not to that scale.
Kind of with Woodbury, there was a bit of.
They were just copying Woodbury.
They are too. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big world of open stuff, and there's still all the Rick movies and everything, which we can only hope that he's involved somehow in the finale, but it's seeming less and less likely now, which is unfortunate.
On Astromech a week or so ago, Liam brought up the Mandela. Is it Mandela effect? Mandela.
Yeah.
Mandela.
Are we all saying that there are Rick movies coming up and nothing has ever been announced?
No,
they're announced.
It was announced as soon as he went off in the helicopter in season 9.
Okay.
They did a big announcement on Talking Dead saying that we're doing a trilogy of Rick movies, and that's changed. Like, sometimes they say we're going to do 1, we're going to do 2, but we're still doing 3.
Okay.
But it from what they've said, it is definitely still happening. I can't say that is still happening, but
it's on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's legit.
Well, I wouldn't say that. If it's on IMDb, that means it's legit.
That's my hope anyway.
Yeah.
If it's on IMDb, then it makes me feel like there's more of a chance of it happening than not.
It's like Indiana Jones 5. It is filming now. We've seen shots, but like for 6 or 7 years, they've been saying, next year pre-production starts on Indiana Jones. And,
longer than that even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's that?
So the cast so far is only 2 people. It's Rick Grimes and Pollyann McIntosh. Yeah. I did not realize that. There you go.
Yeah, because she was in the helicopter with him.
She was, but then she was also in World Beyond.
Yes.
There you go. To be honest, with these episodes, I'm counting down the episodes kind of dreadfully. But, we're going to see Terry Crews apparently at one point.
That's going to be awesome.
But then we're also going to see what's her name, who's her face.
Not Molly Parker. That's the other one. Parker Posey.
Parker Posey, yes.
Yeah. Pocket full of posies.
Who we all know is Isaac's favorite character from Lost in Space. So that's the or some of the cast for Tales of the Walking Dead has been announced, and some pretty big people, which is cool.
be
they're
funny
not
to-
like, yeah, you go.
Funny to see her run away from like walkers because of her funny run that she does.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not like Brad Pitt or whatever, but yeah, it's definitely bigger actors than I was expecting. So I hope they're putting that level of effort into it.
Brad Pitt's your go-to for like A-list character.
Yeah.
He's in World War Z, so there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, just cross it over. Yeah, they're like the zombies at the end of World Beyond, kind of.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. So yeah, lots of stuff, and I'm still most optimistic about the Daryl and Carol show. Again, if that's still happening. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting next few years, I think, and I really don't know what to think or what to expect.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, so we'll see. But any last thoughts? Or are you happy to wrap it up there?
More looting, just
Yeah.
like more looting, scavenging, survival,
Yeah.
things like that. Have
Yeah.
problems like they did at, there's a fungus growing on the plant, it's eating up our crops, or there's a drought, we need to go get water, or something like that. Leave alone this whole bad guy with a group set up who wants to kill us all and get control. Like, we've had that, it worked for some, it's getting a bit annoying. It's getting on my nerves. So, I don't know.
And that's why the first half of season 4 is one of my favorite stretches of the show, because you had the flu arc, which was nothing to do with villain.
Yeah.
Like, you just had a whole season of the governor, and he does end up coming back. But it's like, let's just what's like a real world issue that in the normal world it's not a problem because you've got medicine, but in an apocalypse it's a lot harder to deal with. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then you had the fences falling down. It was just like, yeah, basic stuff, but I thought they made it into a really interesting stretch of story. So
Yeah, I do too.
yeah, it can be done.
Yeah.
There we
Peak
go.
Walking Dead.
Definitely.
I heard someone bring up again the one-eye Bry thing with the governor. Are you winking or blinking? Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of actors. The Martinez guy who was one of his henchmen. Who was in something, and Gregory was a big bad in another show, which is kind of a spoiler for that show, so I won't say what it is. But yeah, there's some good stuff. But yeah, we'll leave it there for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Definitely stay tuned for next week and let us know your thoughts. Are we being too critical, too positive? What do you think of the episode? You can head to turnsounds.com and there's a contact us page, or just email turnsounds@gmail.com.
That's it.
I've been saying info at Turnsounds sometimes by accident, and that doesn't exist. So
Maybe that would have been better. Who knows?
yeah, I think we tried to, but it was too hard to set it up. Is that right?
I
don't know. Anyways, I've been Ben.
Still am.
Always Isaac.
And thanks so much for listening. Just keep walking.